Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Ripple's USD-backed stablecoin just got the green light, and it's a big step towards regulatory framework, especially with real-world use cases. But to be honest, I don't care anymore about the news, but any good news is great because the timing couldn't have been any better. With stronger partnerships in a shifting regulatory landscape, even with Ripple still continuing to set the stage for deeper regulatory framework, there will always be cycles, and we should remain focused on where our targets are. Now that brings us back to this chart because we must, and I say this with great emphasis, we must learn from our past lessons, especially from the past bear markets, more notably from the 2018 bear market. Now, I'm still bullish, and I'm going to talk about why. For the past few months, I have constantly been talking about the potential breakout of the triangle, and we are now well above that triangle. We are now in the final expansion phase, in my opinion, and that triangle alone was a 6 to 7 year accumulation, and it comes to no surprise that this breakout was bound to happen anytime, and we got it. I was prepared. I made sure you were prepared, and at that time of this recording, Ripple is still constantly putting pressure on the skeptics who are questioning the breakout. Now let's get straight into the wave counts because that is going to be the biggest thing here in terms of where the continuation might happen and where the pullbacks might actually happen. So as you can see, we broke out of this triangle, nothing new here, but we are super close to the all-time high. And if we are going to be taking it and measuring it from the previous top, it's about only a 20% run before we actually break that all-time high. So are we going to be breaking that all-time high? I absolutely believe so, and I'm going to explain why. Right now, XRP, after this breakout, we are witnessing the 5-wave move going into that first wave 1 possibly, and this is the minor degree in the white, and we are trying to identify whether this wave 4 is now in and this wave 5 is going to be concluding. Now, there are two ways we're going to look at it, but this first idea is the most bullish option. Now, as you can see, since this wave 1, or assuming this is a wave 1, is so extended already, we might even have to extend this wave 3 if we're just going to keep the symmetry intact. Meaning that this target, where my original targets of around $7 to $10 are conservative, I'm going to say around even $15 to $20 could be even a more ambitious target if we're going to be continuing the idea that we're still in just the wave 1 of this expansion phase. And this is all going to be dependent on whether we're going to be getting that continued news and stream of news for XRP and also how Bitcoin also behaves in this market. But as Bitcoin is currently still in a wave 3-4, and we still have one more pending wave 3-4 on the higher degree, thumbs up, and also make sure to subscribe to the channel if you want to see more Bitcoin video updates. It does really help. Thank you very much. That I think that this is still going to be possibly working in this really large expansion phase to the upside. So with that being said, again, we're still in this wave 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're going to talk about whether this wave 4 is in or not in just a moment on the shorter time frames, but from a relative overall bullish macro perspective, I still think that this is intact since we broke out of that BD trend line that we have been talking about for so long, and we are already so close to the all-time high. Now, what if it does break all-time high? I think that the highest conviction is going to be breaking the all-time high, but what if it just stalls there? Then there's a big problem here because if it just stalls, and if we're going to know eventually, especially in that pullback for that wave 2, but if it does turn more bearish than we anticipated when we break this all-time high, we don't know exactly what's going to happen. And that's why I said we really must, with emphasis, take past bear markets into consideration. Now, not everything is going to be playing exactly fractal-wise as from the past to the current time of recording. We don't know how everything is going to be playing out, but we can just take the risk management approach very seriously. We've taken the risk management approach that we were accumulating with high conviction as much as we can for XRP here. Me specifically and personally, I've been accumulating XRP for over 6 years or so now. And now, whether this happens sooner than later and we can get that bigger pullback sooner, then this in itself could be turning into the 5-wave in itself for that primary 5th wave, meaning that this degree is now becoming the higher degree of an intermediate degree where originally where we anticipated this could be a wave 1, 2, and then 3, 4, 5 to the upside. Now, my primary idea is still siding with the first idea I shared, but this is also on the table, which means that wave 4, if this is complete or if it's still in creation, that this wave 5, if it breaks this top here or the all-time high, we do have a technical wave 5 being complete. And that's the beauty and also the downside of the Elliott Wave Theory, because now you have to work with probabilities of different scenarios. So since this primary fifth wave is 5 waves in itself as well, we're looking for 5 waves, just like we saw for that lower degree, minor degree in the white. This can also turn into a 5-wave move in itself, and that should be also the end of the bull market, which is why I say $7 or $5 to $10 range is a pretty good conservative target regardless. No matter how bullish we may be, we still, again, I said that with emphasis, that we must be taking risk management very seriously. So if we're going to be expecting a wave 1-2 pullback, at least if we take some profits here, then we know that we can enter on, a larger 1-2 pullback with greater confidence if it does turn corrective, which is going to be at least at the very minimum an ABC pullback. If it's more complex, we'll have to see at that time. But if that does turn into a larger correction, at least you know that you've taken profits and you can kind of sit back and sleep well. So that is how you should be approaching the strategy in terms of how you should be investing and also selling for XRP. Again, none of this is financial advice. However, the risk management approach is all the same. So with that being said, if this does go into the more bullish route, the more anticipated bullish route rather, is that this wave 1-2 is going to be a massive opportunity to accumulate more XRP, because we are expecting around a 40 to 50% pullback that should be in the store for us, or at least in the forecast, if this does turn into a larger pullback. Again, we'll know whether the larger pullback is going to be in a fashion of the first actionary wave of being a wave 1, if it's impulsive, or if it's kind of more of a controlled impulse to the downside. That could be the beginning of a wave A, as we are looking for the first leg for the corrective structure. So that is where we're going to be kind of reassessing our overall structure. But let's talk about this level here, because we are still looking for this wave 4 to complete, and that's where the hybrid scenarios all intertwine with each other. We're still trying to figure out if there's one more leg to the upside, as that is the overall kind of outlook that we're looking for. So if we zoom in, let's pull up the XRP chart on the shorter time frames. You can see that we do have the minimum expectation of an ABC pullback here. So we do have the first wave 1, 2, and then we have a pretty nice 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 structure going into that primary wave 3. As you can see, we have this intermediate degree wave 1 and 2, and then we have an impulse in itself, triangle for 3, 4, 5 going into wave 3. The wave 4 of the intermediate degree was a triangle in itself. Perfect. It was very parabolic, and this is exactly what we're looking for. Now, this ABC pullback does look like it is complete, and this at the current time recording, we got that news of that RLUSD stablecoin, green light, perfect, and I think that was the kind of bottoming action that we saw for XRP. But can this turn into a deeper correction? Absolutely. This can be turning into a WXY as well if we do get some kind of stall here, and then we, depending on how Bitcoin also behaves, like I said, is also going to be the bigger picture that we can be seeing here for how this wave 4 could be playing out. So with that being said, wave 4 could be technically be complete, and we can be looking for another fifth wave to the upside around $4, and at these levels alone, that's around another 50 to 100% gain in that alone. And if we do get another pullback, expect around another 30% pullback. In totality, should be around 40 to 50% pullback as well. I like the idea of the scenario of a pullback as well, because like I said, we want to be making sure that we keep intact on how this wave 4 is looking like. And symmetry wise, everything is about symmetry and geometry in the Elliott Wave Theory. As you can see, wave 2 was relatively long in time, of course not on the macro scale, but right now, as you can see, it does seem a little out of place if we do have this wave 4 being complete. But either way, it is still fine, because we do have the observation of alternation, which means that if wave 1 was sideways, which it is observed as a sideways corrective, this wave 4 was sharp, and we did get that expectation of a 30% pullback. So this wave 4 could be technically complete, and that's why I have that idea that we could just be working for that fifth wave right now. But I wouldn't be surprised if we did get another pullback. If we stalled within this range here, get another pullback, that would give us a better look theoretically. As you can see, if wave 4 was going to be a little bit longer in time. Now, this wave 4 can transform into any type of corrective structure. We just simply do not know. Could be turning into flat, could be turning into a triangle in itself. A triangle would be even better, because it is showing a state of equilibrium, and then we could be looking for that fifth wave to the upside. So if that is wave 4, that we're going to be looking for a little bit of a longer sideways correction, as you can see, it does have a better look. As you can see right here, we have this being met in time relatively and symmetrically in the same kind of caliber. Then we could be looking for that wave 1, and then that larger 1-2 pullback. So is this a time to be accumulating accumulating XRP? Not necessarily. As you can see, this may be a few months of just sideways continuation, just like we saw over here, before we get another expansion phase. But that doesn't go without its hardships, because that is also going to be met with rewards. The wave 3 that we're expecting, if this is turning into a larger move to the upside, is going to be the most profitable wave. This is just a teaser pump, if I would rather say. 500%, imagine this pump here, that's around 1,000% just for that wave 3. Of course, it's not measured to, scale, but if we are looking for a wave 3 and we're expecting a wave 3, that is going to be the most profitable wave, because in the Elliott Wave Theory, relatively speaking, if we're following it or adhering to the rules and guidelines, wave 3 is going to be typically the longest. Doesn't have to be, it has to be the second longest no matter what. However, if this is going to be turning into that symmetrical outlook that we're looking just based on the theory alone, this wave 3 is going to be the most profitable wave, and we still have a lot of time. That's why I say there's still some time left. I'm not rushing it. You shouldn't rush it as well, but as we want to be making sure that we're working in 5 waves to the upside, we're going to be looking for clues on how this wave 5 is going to be completing for either a wave 1 or entirely the bear market in itself. And that's why I'm saying risk management strategy wise, it's not bad to take profits there. It's not financial advice. There's going to be some people who are going to be holding it forever. There's some people who are already positioned here, and I would say at these levels here, the people who are positioned here or even positioning at themselves right now are going to be the ones that are going to be taking profits here. And that's where the real test of whether you should be holding XRP or not is going to be coming into play. So be very careful in that sense alone. So hopefully that was helpful, ladies and gentlemen. We are looking for overall more expectation to the upside, at least in the sense of the shorter and medium time frame. We're looking for that 5th wave no matter what. But the first step is going to be how this wave 4 is going to be playing out. Again, if we go back to the shorter time frames, you can see the wave 4 is technically complete, or if we're going to be more complex, creating more complexity within the wave 4, it can still do one more dip depending on what kind of corrective pattern it plays out. Wave 4 could be really anything, but based on the alternation, since this wave 2 was finished, really the only option left in terms of alternation is this simple ABC that's complete now, or we're working at WXY, which also fits into the alternation idea, because WXY, double zigzag rather, is still a multiple zigzag correction, and that also fits into the characteristic of a sharp pullback. So we're looking for a 5th wave to the upside, ladies and gentlemen, and then that larger 1-2 pullback. But in the case it just moves parabolically up to the upside, wave 1 doesn't really, wave 1-2 doesn't even have to pull back as deep as we want. And that is the beauty of XRP. We really simply do not know. That's why we work with the Elliott Wave Theory, to kind of just figure out the minimum expectation of how this is going to be playing out. But overall, since this triangle is now complete, we're looking for a massive move to the upside, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much. I'll see you guys in the next video. Hopefully that was helpful. Please make sure to hit that like button, thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you. Have a fantastic rest of the week. Bye-bye.